slot. Obviously, time slot matters. You want to make sure you want to have the most eyeballs on the right games and stuff like that. So we're going to go through each of the games. Jay, starting off with your first game of the day, what would you have over here?
All right, so first game of the day is always pretty tricky because you have to ask yourself, do you start out hype and then calm things down a little bit? It looks like the NBA went that route a little bit by starting at MSG and then kind of turning down the heat a little bit by, yes, putting them in OKC, but let's be honest, at the end of the day, that matchup is a little bit of a step back compared to being in Madison Square Garden. I'm going to stick with the same vibes here and start out strong, calm down a little bit, and then turn up the heat a little bit more afterwards, right? So we're going to lean favor to Eastern Conference time zone because I think that's the best way to be able to get a good viewership experience as well. I'm going to keep the New York Knicks here. I think they should play at MSG, and TV already hinted at it. I feel like it already just makes sense. The Atlanta Hawks visit MSG. We already know the villain that is Trae Young should be in Madison Square Garden, but TV, you forget. Another individual that fits very well within this matchup is a guy who used to wear the blue and orange. Kristaps Porzingis plays center for this Atlanta Hawks team and will return to MSG as well as part of a revamped Atlanta Hawks team. Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson healthy, Zachary Risachet in season 2. You add Kristaps Porzingis, you get Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You have two hard-nosed defensive teams against each other, and you have two lead point guards that you know how to get buckets in Trae Young versus Jalen Brunson. Kick off the day with the villain versus the mob, I guess.
100%. I really do like that matchup. If we were going to do another Eastern Conference matchup, that would 100% be the one. Everyone still was clinging on to that Trae Young and MSG thing. And that was like from what, 2021?
Yeah.
You know that he still has an impact, and you know Knicks fans still hate him. You want to have that type of energy as the first game of the day. You love to see it. But Jay, I'm actually going to repeat a matchup from last year from the 12 o'clock show.
Okay.
Because I'm going to have Spurs in New York again. I want to have that matchup. I want Wemby underneath the MSG lights. And last year, he put on a damn good performance. He had, I think, a 30-plus point performance, a near triple-double with blocks. You want to have that type of, star be underneath the bright lights. You know the Knicks are a very good team as well, making it to deep into the playoffs in consecutive years. And, of course, you have, a really revved-up Spurs team, a healthy Spurs team. So, in terms of matchups, it's not like it's, that big of a gap like it would be for Thunder Spurs, right? I think it's going to be a bit more of a competitive matchup.
Yeah.
And if you want to continue to build Wemby, we talk about building stars, you want to have them in the biggest environments, and it doesn't get much bigger than MSG. Let's run it back. It was a fun game last year. I want to repeat it this year. Give me Spurs versus the Knicks.
Definitely not mad at it. I think that if you're going to put Wemby in the mix, he definitely needs to be playing in a big market situation where he can be under the bright lights and be featured really heavily. I think that if you're going to do a cross-conference matchup, going up against the New York Knicks, not a bad way to go about it.
100%. Jay, the 2:30 matchup. I don't know if you're going to, go balls to the walls here, just keep, raising the stakes. Who do you have in your 2:30 matchup?
I'm going to be honest, I think this one is a little controversial, and this might be one that I'm kind of building the storyline a little bit up, a little further than maybe it's worth. But this is just something that I think is interesting to me, and I want to continue to show a little bit of love to the Eastern Conference at the beginning because we know that everybody towards the Western Conference is going to start really favoring things when everyone's circled around the tree, eating food, and really locked into the game, right? So the second half of the day, the Western Conference games will be a lot more favored, but I'm going to get the Eastern Conference out the way, and I wanted to give them one more game because I feel like it's deserving, right? And I think the Cleveland Cavaliers, as a team that could finish as the top seed in the East, should be in the mix on Christmas. And what team should they face, you ask? The team I was just highlighting a second ago that I think could make a lot of noise as the third best team, if not better, in the East, being the Orlando Magic, a team they faced off against in the playoffs 2 years ago. TV, the storyline is very simple. The Cleveland Cavaliers have a core four that has one more season left before we're going to see a real shakedown. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, and Evan Mobley. There's a chance that if this core four doesn't start off the year on a good note, by the NBA trade deadline, that core four could be down to 3 Musketeers. On the other side, you have the Orlando Magic, who just completely sold the farm to build their core four, and they need to know that this core four is going to work for the long haul. Paulo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, all locked in for the next 3 to 4 seasons, if not a little bit further. But in terms of them all together as a group, the next 3 seasons. And they need to know how they stack up against the rest of the Eastern Conference in terms of making a run for the championship. Because a year like this one, where you got the Celtics and you got the Pacers down, it's a year where you have to really ask yourself as the Magic, if we're going to be as good as we say we think we are on paper, we got to be able to take out the only two teams that's really in the way. That's the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And guess what? You can't face New York on Christmas. Atlanta's already handling that business. The next team you got to face is the team you couldn't get past, but you almost pushed because they went 7 games that year.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round matchup. I think you hosted at Cleveland. Give the wine and gold the favor because they're the team that likely will also be, the most eyeballs on during the regular season because of the fact that this is a make or break year for them. So while one core 4 is fighting for the sustainability of continuing the wrath that they've been on over the last couple of seasons of being a 50-plus win team over the last handful of years, but been on the chopping block just about every summer, we've got the other team with a core 4 that's coming to take that spot.
I like it. I absolutely like it. So that's a good matchup. Again, my only thing is we talked about this beforehand. Jay has more Eastern Conference teams than I do. I'm actually just gonna tell you right now, I'm keeping just the same 2, and that's about it. Because I feel like there's a lot more storylines going on over there in the West this year in general. But this is what I'm talking about, man. We need to have more of these opportunities for the East to prop itself up. Put a freaking focus on the Orlando Magic. We've seen how good Paolo Banchero can be. Give him the platform so he can show the rest of the world what he could do, and I think Christmas Day would be a great time for that.
Yeah.
But Jay, I'm trying and balance this out, bro. I want there to be a marquee matchup here. So it's going to be kind of balls to the wall, but at the same time, we want to make sure that no matter what point of the day, you want to have eyeballs on the screen and you want to have players that people know.
Okay.
Jay, at 2:30, give me the Rockets versus the Warriors.
Okay.
Give me the Rockets taking on the Warriors. Jay, it's ironic that you have the Golden State Warriors with Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler. They defeat the Houston Rockets in round 1 last year.
Mm-hmm.
They come back into this season and add Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
This is a very similar storyline, obviously not to the biggest extent, where the Golden State Warriors lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they come back the following year with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So now they're going to be on the other foot of that. You could definitely play that up. You could definitely show a bunch of the clips of, Steph, Draymond, and Durant playing with each other, feeding to the fact that, they kind of left on bad terms, according to, especially because a lot of us NBA fans know that. Bring that into the storyline, and it's definitely a young versus old matchup, but this is a good chance, and this is what I'm talking about, using the Steph Curry rub, using the Kevin Durant rub, and giving a chance for the rest of the fans to see what an Alperen Şengün could do, put more eyes on an Amen Thompson, and I think this type of matchup would be great. We're going balls to the wall already at 2:30, but I'm going to have this matchup over there.
No, I like it. I think at the end of the day, Houston has to be featured somewhere in here. I think the 2:30 slot is a really good one. You might have even given me an idea for how I want to frame this next one at 2:30. And I think that Golden State is a team that you do have to heavily consider, again, because the Steph fireworks is just so important in terms of being able to bring all eyes to the game. I think it's going to be really important to see how they kind of feature those in there. And again, like you said, the storyline of, the squad came back with a Kevin Durant edition. We've seen this movie before, and it had quite the effect on the league. The Houston Rockets adding Kevin Durant was one of the biggest storylines of the summer, and it was one of the most interesting things in terms of the sports books, because Houston's odds to win the championship were in a pretty solid spot without Kevin Durant. They added my boy to the roster. And they were picked to come out the Western Conference in the preseason so far. It's looking spooky with the Houston Rockets, and I think that's an interesting matchup to feature him against, like you said, his old squad.
His former team, and especially if you have this game in Golden State, to have the reaction of the fans, that you won't have that energy. That's some great energy. But again, that's a 2:30 game. Like Jay said, he has the 12 and 2:30 game already with the East teams. This is where he's going to start bringing in the West teams now when we go into the 5 o'clock matchup. This is where we're going to start. Jay, like I mentioned, this is when the family starts coming in. This is when you have eyes around the TV and you want to have the eyeballs on the best matchups. What are you going to have at your 5 o'clock game?
Yeah, man. So we're in the middle pocket here, man. And we're at game 3 of the day, and we need something spicy. And I'm trying to be a little toxic here, right? One of the biggest things that I thought was really interesting about this summer was a lot of people were feeling a little nostalgic. Did you see, TV? Yeah. Damian Lillard went back to Portland.
Yeah.
CP3 goes back to the Clippers.
Yeah.
What if KD had to go look OKC back in the face after a championship?
Wow.
TV, the Houston Rockets We're a very interestingly discussed roster. But guess what? When a lot of the trade discussions were being centered around Kevin Durant, you know, an interesting team that kept coming up as a possible just let's go completely crazy. The idea of like what was the equivalent of back in the day when we saw that DeMarcus Cousins was signing with the Golden State Warriors after they already had KD, Steph, Draymond, and Clay. We're thinking, wait a minute, healthy D Cousins on this? Like, oh, okay. This is just getting absolutely absurd. You know the team that was going to be that team this upcoming year? The Oklahoma City Thunder, with everybody saying that they had the scratch to go get Kevin Durant from the Suns, and it didn't happen. Instead, the Houston Rockets and their young guns went and brought in Kevin Durant, and now he has a chance, you know, putting himself back in a real position to win games. Two very defensive-oriented teams, young Buck squads, and some bucket getters in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and KD going back at it as two OKC legends.
I like
throw down in OKC, man. I think that's a good way to. And potentially the top two teams coming out of the Western Conference by the time this whole thing is said and done.
No, 100%. I do very much like that matchup. I was thinking about that matchup, but they're doing it opening night, and I think like KD seeing OKC raise that trophy and he wasn't a part of it. I feel like that's a good storyline. But again, having that on Christmas, A+. That's still going to be a great game to have there.
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock for myself, Jay, I still have the Thunder in this matchup.
Okay.
But I want to go with a matchup that people maybe predicted too early for it to be the finals matchup, but there was a chance it was going to happen. Give me the two best teams from each conference last year. Give me the Thunder. Give me the Cavs. The battle of the young cores. This is where you want to say, this is the best of the future has to offer. Donovan Mitchell, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, all of the J-Dub, all of these young talents, some of the best that we have going forward, and having those two great teams. Yeah. Potential finals matchup, Jay, too. Sure. Potential finals matchup. You can maybe project that a little bit, have a dead center in the middle of the day, and just have just the two best teams of either conference just battle it out. Yeah, you don't need much storyline besides that. You just need to have the best two teams battle it out.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, the biggest thing and most important thing is, like you said, seeing some of the best talent face off each other is going to be really important on this day as it is. But seeing top teams go bat for bat is going to be the thing that gives us a litmus test for when we start to get closer to the postseason. We're like, okay, I think we have a good understanding of how these two teams could face off if they meet each other in the first round. You want to get a taste of that early because some of these teams,
you want to plant the seeds.
You want to plant the seeds, and you might get that chance. Let's go back to my Thunder versus Rockets game from right before, right? That might be a matchup you don't see until the Western Conference Finals. You want to sprinkle those seeds early to set the tone to say, for example, you mentioned with that game how they already face each other on opening night. Guess what? Somebody got to get their lick back. And Christmas wouldn't be a bad day to get that gift under the Christmas tree or getting that lick back from that matchup. You just never know. I think the same thing could be said for something like this.
Yeah, Thunder Cavs, I think, just showcase of the best young talent that you got in the league, and you have two of the best teams from either conference, so you can't really go wrong with that. Jay, the primetime show, 8 p.m. This is the one where everyone's going to have their eyes on. This is where you had the Lakers-Warriors last year, having that fantastic game. You want to have, this is like the primetime spot. What match are we going to have here? I have a feeling we have the same matchup here.
Probably TV, because it's called DJ Run That Back. We go ahead and put the Lakers and the Warriors back in the mix. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. For me, I know that you already have the Warriors playing, but for me, I'm DJ running it back. The Lakers playing against the Warriors, it's just, I mean, come on, man. Steph,
it's money,
LeBron, it's pocket money. Presence right there. Obviously, we're at the marquee. This is the marquee Western Conference game as far as the time slot is set. This is the one where, of course, you got Luka, Steph, Braun, Draymond, Jimmy. Go down to, for my Austin Reeves sickos out there, you got him in the mix as well. I mean, this is one of those matchups where, of course, you know it's going to be a good game. By Christmas, you know there's going to be at least a little bit of Western Conference static there in terms of the seeding, because we already know by the time the new year is set, the Western Conference is already starting to get shambles. Yeah. Let's be honest. By Christmas Day, the Western Conference already starts not making sense to anybody. So this will be a game that has a little bit of implications behind it. And again, man, look, we only get so many more of these. We only do TV.
I feel you.
We only get so many. So we're going to be going with the OGs. Give me the two best OGs in the game, man.
Yeah, I get it. Lakers, Warriors, you can't go wrong with that. That's going to be money every single time you put it on TV. And that's the reason why every time they go up on TV against each other, the NBA is going to market the shit out of it. So you want to make sure, if you want to have it on the biggest stage, put it on Christmas. Love to see it.
Yep.
But Jay, I thought we are going to have the same here. I feel like this is just, it's the biggest layup matchup of all time. Just run back Lakers, Mavs. Just run back Lakers, Mavs.
I feel that.
Have it back in Dallas, have it in LA, doesn't really matter. Anthony Davis versus his former team. Luka trying to drop a 50 ball every single time he sees Dallas, he sees red. Of course, you have the number one pick over there, so getting the Luka / LeBron rub and seeing Cooper Flag amongst the greats of the game is already going to be a crazy image. Imagine like a Christmas Day picture where you have Luka guarding Cooper Flag in a post, or LeBron and vice versa. Like, the story writes itself. There's not much we need to know. We already know the trade happened. That trade freaking reached the ends of the earth in terms of like the type of people it reached in terms of media coverage. You had to run it on Christmas, and the fact that they're not doing it on Christmas, that's the only thing that makes me sad. But in my ideal scenario, give me Lakers Mavs, and we're gonna put it in the primetime slot. It couldn't happen any other way.
Also storyline-wise, I really do like that one a lot because, of course, the Luka dynamic is just going to be super important. And obviously, another chance to be able to feature Cooper Flag in a real way, which is going to be important for this draft class in particular because there's a lot of hype behind Cooper. We got to see it on the floor, and he's inserted on a good team out the gate, something we're not used to with a lot of first overall picks. It'll be interesting to see how he faces off against the former guy in Dallas in a situation where, again, these two teams are going to be jockeying for position in the Western Conference because, let's be honest, it's going to be a bloodbath all year.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's why we're going to have that matchup. But again, the Lakers-Warriors, that's something where you're like, okay, you just can't go with that. Yeah. As long as you have LeBron, you have Steph on the court, it's going to be must-watch basketball. And we can only do this so many more times, so make sure you put it on the biggest stages. Jay, 10:30 game. What do you want ending the day? I know, like, this is maybe when people are trying to start fell to bed and all that, but you still want to have a massive matchup. What are you going to have to end the day?
TV, it's only right that Anthony Edwards plays at some time.
Thank you.
On Christmas, right? But TV, what's Anthony Edwards' nickname here on the podcast?
The OG killer.
And what team is well known for its handful of OGs in the Western Conference?
I like it. I had a feeling you're going to go this route.
Let's add a little bit more star power to close out the night as well, but put together the OG Slayers' greatest feat of slaying down a handful of legends. The unction that is the LA Clippers. Kawhi Leonard. Houston has a problem because guess what? James Harden will not be having any strip clubs that night. He's just going to be very sad and very tired. Chris Paul, very much back on the roster. Brook Lopez, Bradley Beal. Man, when you go down the roster, man, it's a bunch of OGs. Like you said, the unction is in full effect, and no player is better at giving a guy his cane and walking him to the retirement home than Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree with that. I had a feeling they were going to end on that type of note. And if you want to, again, push the Legend Killer gimmick on Anthony Edwards, the nickname of the Legend Killer, the OG Slayer.
Hey, man.
Then you got to pair him with the unction. You got to pair him with the unction. I like it. Jay, I had two matchups that I thought I was going to put here. I was trying to convince myself to try and like run back and do the two best centers in the league, Jokic and Embiid. But I feel like we're like years past that at some point. It feels kind of icky to do it now. And can you rely on Joel Embiid to make that matchup? Probably not. So I was going to stay away from that. But I still want Nikola Jokic in there. And Jay, I was really trying to convince myself, do I want to take Anthony Edwards out? Do I want to put in the unction and like really feed into that? Jay, I'm just gonna keep the 10:30 game to stay. Give me the. I really like. I know it's gonna end on a pretty like on an uneventful note, at least in terms of our schedules. But I'm leaving the 10:30 game the same. Give me Timberwolves. Give me the Denver Nuggets. They have history. I want Anthony Edwards to play on Christmas. End the night strong. You have the best player in the league in Nikola Jokic. Revamp Nuggets team. I'm cool with that ending tonight, and I'm not going to change that.
I'm not mad at it. Like you said, for the basketball sickos out there, this is just a matchup that we've already seen in a real way. We know there's some history there, as you mentioned beforehand. Yeah, it looks a little bit different without Karl Anthony Towns in the mix, but these are still two teams that are going to be vying for real space in the Western Conference.
Yeah, like both the teams might be top 4 teams in the freaking list.
And I'm glad you're saying it because a lot of people are very hype about what the Denver Nuggets were able to do this summer, bringing in Bruce Brown, trading for Cam Johnson, being able to position themselves to get real depth at the center position, but bringing in Nurkic. They've done a lot of things to be able to clean up the edges. Valanciunas, excuse me. But at the same time, all of that is starting to cause this little commotion around the Timberwolves where we're not hearing about them in the same light that we were last season or the season before. And I'm starting to think they're getting slept on a little bit. Don't get me wrong, some of that might be the Julius Randle curse that is his every other season problem. But the other part of that might just be the fact that people are sleeping on the fact that the T-Wolves, despite losing to Nikhil Alexander-Walker, are still a really good, well-constructed roster. And they've got Terrence Shannon Jr. and my boy Rob Dillingham coming up the pipeline very soon as well. So
yeah, no, 100%. You want to have those, especially if you want to have your, in the NBA sense, your biggest American star going forward, your biggest American star, like you got to have him on Christmas Day. You got to have Anthony Edwards there, and you got to have the 3-time MVP at this point, and Nikola Jokic. You need to have him there. So I'm gonna have that end tonight.
Yeah.
What other matchups you guys want to see? Do you agree or disagree with our schedules? Do you like the current schedule that the NBA put together? Let us know down below. If there are any other matchups that we missed out on that you think you could build better than us.
TV, do you want to read your slate out one more time for the people to compare their list with ours?
Sure. My Christmas Day list. We're starting off today. Spurs Knicks, Wemby and MSG. Let's run that back from last year. Number 2, KD returning back to Golden State. You have the Rockets versus the Warriors. The Warriors took them out last year, and they brought in KD just like the Warriors had to bring in KD after losing to the Cavs. Obviously not on the biggest stage, obviously, but we have that matchup there. 5 o'clock, Thunder Cavs. Self-explanatory. Best 2 teams from last year, regular season-wise. Let's put a matchup there. Lakers versus the Mavericks. Need I say more? Luka Doncic versus his old team. AD returning back to LA. All the stories write itself. And then I'm just going to keep the 10:30 game the same. Give me the Nuggets versus the Wolves. They've shown they can play some good games in the past. I'm going to say, let's do it again on Christmas.
Yeah, man, in my NBA Christmas game slate, the perfect ideal spots would be for me to kick things off with the New York Knicks taking on the Atlanta Hawks. It writes itself. Trae Young and Kristaps Porzingis get to come to MSG and play supervillain against the Knicks, who are going to be rowdy at the crib. Give me the Orlando Magic versus the Cleveland Cavaliers next up. 2 core 4s on 2 totally different trajectories. The core 4 of the Cavs are playing to keep themselves together. The core 4 of the Magic are playing to keep themselves in the mix as one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference coming into a year where a lot of people are high on them. Number 3, that third slot, the Rockets versus the Thunder. KD either is getting his lick back or putting his foot down after the opening night matchup against the Thunder where he sees those folks put on a ring on their finger. Man, he's not having it. And the Thunder are also going to have SGA try to defend that spot as the best Thunder in NBA history. Then, 4th spot, Lakers, Warriors. It speaks for itself. Braun, Luka, Jimmy, and you have Steph in the mix. Come on, man. It is what it is. Yeah. And then Timberwolves versus Clippers. Like we said, it's the OG Slayer versus the Unction. That is the Clippers with their OG squad. And you have the Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards, who just loves sending players into retirement. And guess who's already on the way out? CP3. Anthony Edwards just going to help you to the door.
Absolutely love it. Let us know which schedules of ours is better. Can you create a better one like I mentioned? Let us know down below. And again, your thoughts on the current Christmas Day schedule.